In this episode, I share my 5 keys to being happy, the 5 things that I do that make me feel most alive and that my life is worth living. Specifics vary from person to person, but I think it's crucial to dial in these areas if you want to feel happy. This is a deep psychology podcast. I'm Ross. We blend spirituality, psychology, and self help to help you shine a light on your inner workings. The insights I share have helped me deeply transform myself and transform my life. Listen to this podcast if you want to get real, powerful insights and avoid all the fluffy nonsense that abounds in self help circles. You'll know more about your psychology than 99% of people out there. You can find me on all the major podcasting platforms or head to deep-psychology.com, which is visited by thousands every month, for tons of free resources. You'll also get 2 bonus keys if you head to the article in the description that will take you to my website. So let's get going here. My number 1 key to being happy is to have an overarching vision for my life. I feel like I've always had one that's changed over the years, changed quite dramatically, but I feel like I've always had one. And my overarching vision is kind of like a set of guiding principles and a big picture of life's meaning and my role in life. It kind of acts as a strong foundation for all my actions and plans. It's often called your life purpose or your ikigai, which is a Japanese term for it. Nowadays, my vision is to learn, to grow, and become wiser, while also remembering to enjoy and cherish the pleasures of life. And everything else ties into this. I use this to guide my big decisions. And if my relationships or my work or my hobbies or my life goals didn't align with this ikigai, I would know it and I would feel myself kind of withering on the vine. This vision isn't just a subjective thing like about my preferences, it's based on an extended study of philosophy, spirituality, science, psychology, and from my life experience. So I've drawn objective facts and subjective facts as well. I've found that without this vision, life just passes me by. I'm not really sure why I'm here, and I become quite vague about my life and I become petty and I lose verve for life. I don't really feel fully alive. What's going to happen is without this having an overarching, inspiring vision for your life, what's going to happen is you're kind of going to end up with the one that most people have, which is kind of generalized, tacit, uninspiring. It's not personal to them. You know, their overarching vision for life is to have a job and to pay the bills and to have children and to have fun now and again. There's no real purpose behind it. It's kind of just general and vague and not inspiring. So if you realize that you have this sense of potential inside you, you're likely being stifled by this generalized purpose that goes around in society. You have to ask yourself, what is your reason for being alive? What is your life all about? Why are you alive? And I'm not saying this in a pessimistic way. I'm asking you to be very serious about this. What are you here for? Don't just choose any old overarching vision for your life. Look to your deepest yearnings and fascinations in life. These are the pillars of your vision. And then you bring it down from the mind and into the concrete, nitty gritty 3D world by taking small steps over months and years. But you don't have to wait that long. As soon as you realize this overarching vision, you realize what your life is really about for you, you'll realize a sense of clarity that you've maybe never had. And even the difficult stuff you're going through, and even the things you do that aren't related to this overarching vision, they'll be put in this bigger context. Okay, number 2 is having a passionate career. Now, many people claim that passion is unimportant or even damaging in career, but I just do not. I've never understood that view, and I really think it's quite damaging. I've known from a young age that I had to make money by doing something that I loved, otherwise, I wouldn't be happy. and I wouldn't feel a sense of purpose in my life. And I think this was because I lived in an environment for so long that was full of just passionless adults that didn't seem happy to me, and all they did was complain about things. And this kind of left me dreading getting older and having to work. Now, in my teens, I kind of forgot about this realization I had, which was something I had very young. In my teens, I kind of got swept away by external expectations and I actually almost became an actuary. It was only at the end of university that I realized that being an actuary was not what I wanted to do with my life. Now, roll on 5 or 10 years, I'm not 30 yet, but I'm certain about my passion. I've nearly built a full time career from it, and I know my path is to work for myself. And looking back, I think I'd be seriously miserable if I'd become an actuary. Doesn't matter about the carrots, the external rewards. It just pales in comparison to having passion for your work and earning a good living from it. After going through this process and being self employed since I left university, I'm now convinced it's possible to monetize any passion you have and make a career from it. I don't believe in people who say that certain things you can make money from and other things you can't. I think it's all about skills. It's all about the know how, knowing how to do it and having the persistence and the vision to do it, and not just cutting yourself down before you even start. So, if this interests you, the idea of having a passionate career, let me just give you a few tips. My next episode is actually going to be about finding your life calling and living your life calling. So, come back for that. But here's a few tips to get you started. Your career should form part of your life purpose. So it should be very related to number one. The number one, which is having an overarching vision, having a life purpose, having an ikigai. Your career should form part of that. Otherwise, I don't think you're going to have much passion for it. Passion doesn't preclude competence, hard work, and practicality. It fuels them. I think this is a mistake a lot of people make, that they think that because they're passionate, everything should be easy. In a certain way, it's actually the opposite. You're going to have to work very hard to make your passion a career. Um, and you have to be very practical and sober about the obstacles in your way. But at the same time, you're going to have much more energy to overcome them because you're passionate about what you're doing. When you're forming the vision, you have to dream and be idealistic. And then once you've got the vision very clear, you have to become practical. So this is another thing. People, before they even entertain the idea of making a living from their passion, they just get far too practical far too soon when they don't really have the knowledge. They just say, I can't make money from that. That's too hard. There's loads of people doing that. You don't, you can't think like that when you've not even done the research, you've not got the habits in place, you've not even got the basic skills. You can only know this stuff. You can only really get practical once you have a clear vision that's based just on passion. Then you get practical and then you see how it's going to work. But you're not doing what everyone else does and choosing a career that's going to earn you the most money because you know that that's going to work. You have to get your passion very clear and then get practical, not the other way around. The main hurdle in making your passion your living is basically matching your dream to the market and then monetizing it. So your dream can be quite disconnected from reality. You might find that. You might not find that. You might find it's very connected. If it's too disconnected, you'll need to sort of mold it a little bit so that it fits the market. Now, this might sound discouraging, but nowadays there is a much bigger market open to all of us than there ever has been with the internet, with the globalized economy and so on. So it doesn't mean you're going to have to like totally mold your dream and change it and everything, but you just have to be practical and see what is out there. How are people making money from this? What do people want, and what can I offer them that is related to my dream? And my final tips are just to take lots and lots of action, be prepared for a struggle. It's not going to be easy. And think at least 5 years ahead. Stop thinking 6 months ahead. It's really not enough. You need to be thinking 5, 10 years ahead at minimum, and really think about the impact that this will have on your life long term, and not looking for short term results or short term changes. This is a long term thing, and you have to trust it will be worth it to you. Okay, number three, my third key for living a happy life is meditation. I think meditation has a lot to do with my feeling of living a purposeful life and living a happy life, because it contributes to my happiness in a way that I don't think anything else does. So just to quickly summarize, I've written a lot about meditation. I've done episodes on meditation, so you can go and check those out. But just to quickly summarize, meditation has given me like my life back and shown me how I rob myself of joy and fulfillment moment by moment by moment. It's shown me that all of my fulfillment is ultimately within me. I can't find it anywhere else. It's shown me that the present is the only place that there is, in a very real way, not in like a catchphrasy, soundbitey way. That it really is the only place there is. That nothing is outside of me. That the present is inherently full, regardless of surface level conditions, and that it's in my power to contact this inherent fullness. And this actually all feeds back into my overarching life vision, because my meditation motivates me to help others discover these insights for themselves, which is a huge part of what I do with deep psychology. And I also teach meditation. So, for that reason as well, because it's so connected to my life purpose, it also helps me be happy and feel fulfilled. 4, cultivating interests. I also find great pleasure in this, whether it's just nascent interests or long standing ones. For example, I've recently been appreciating art a lot more than I used to. So recently I went to an exhibition at my local gallery, and I was just blown away by this exhibition. And I kind of couldn't believe that I'd never been so interested in art before. I've also been doing things like making kombucha, making pesto, making bread at home. And this kind of ties into my overarching vision as well, but because on a deep level, I kind of see life as this endlessly creative, complex organism that expresses itself in uncountable ways. And I think as a human being, part of our job is to appreciate that beauty and that multiplicity. We come wired for it, and we all tap into it in our own unique way. And so doing these things connects me with that, even though it might sound grandiose and it might sound disconnected from those little things. They keep me engaged and awake, and they show me how vast and multi-layered life is and how little I've explored for it. And this just whets my appetite for discovery, and it helps me tap into the deeper order of life. So if you find yourself sort of bored and unstimulated in life and I'm not happy, it might just be that you're not seeing the depth and breadth of it. You're just taking it all completely for granted. You're doing the same old things every day. So I encourage you to, if you have any interests, particularly if they're nascent or untapped, you might find great pleasure and fulfillment in pursuing them. You can do things like take new classes, go to art galleries, listen to new music, try new food, anything. Just broaden your horizons a bit, expose yourself. This is simple, but it's powerful. It feeds you, it whets your appetite, it gets you excited for life. So finally, number 5 is fulfilling friendships. Now, Though I feel very comfortable alone and I kind of use my solitude as a spiritual practice, I've noticed that when I spend time with people that I lack connection with, or I go a while without socializing, I start feeling hollow and I start doubting myself. Now, though I'm introverted and I thrive with a few close friends, I really realize that those close friends bring me a lot. We don't have to do any fancy activities together. We can just go for a walk or have a cup of coffee or go for a meal. So long as there's a genuine connection between us, I find it deeply fulfilling to have close friendships like this. So, those are my 5 keys to living a happy life. If you dig what I do, do subscribe, leave me a comment with your own keys for living a happy life, and take care. I'll see you soon for more.